A quilt or quilted project is a work of art. To accomplish the look you want for your completed quilt, you will need to spend some time in planning the whole project from fabrics to construction. Ribbons and buttons are favorites on some quilts. I absolutely love the details of sewing, not just for quilting. I'm so thrilled that you are joining me in my sewing room today. Let's create some sewing art. I absolutely love this beautiful, beautiful table runner. The technique is spiral patchwork. And one of the most wonderful things about this table runner is how quick, fast, and easy it is. You're going to love this idea. Okay, the spiral patchwork can be used with all different kinds of fabrics, but one of my favorites is to use a stripe. Now, I like bias, so we're going to have this spiral patchwork with a very special technique. It is going to end up being a bias table runner. I'm so pleased to have as my guest today, Linda McGehee. Linda is a designer, teacher, and author of numerous books and patterns. Today, Linda represents the Worm Company and will be sharing ideas about batting. Linda, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Martha. It's so great to be here. You know, I brought along some fabrics that were striped because you never know what striped fabric is going to look good on your table. So this just gives you a couple of ideas of fabrics that you might have in your collection. I'm actually working on a stripe that is a undisciplined stripe, so if I'm not quite even, it will be okay. My first step is to fold the fabric over to a diagonal line like this.
Now, how long was that piece of fabric and how?
The fabric was actually, the stripe was on the width, so it was 45 inches wide and it's approximately 15 inches long.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, that might have been backwards, but it's a 15 by 45.
15 by 45.
So we're going to slide the fabric underneath the machine, and you'll notice on the foot that there is a line going across that's a 1/4 of an inch from the needle hole. So I'm going to line the fabric at that point, lower the presser foot, and just make one stitch to sink the needle, lift the presser foot, and turn the fabric so I'm aligning the outside edges. And you're going to end up with a twisted mess, and that's okay. Now we're ready to start sewing, and we're going to keep those edges even along the side here and stitch the full length. Now you're going to come to a point where this appears to be a little bit twisted. That's okay. We'll pull the fabric around a little bit more and then continue sewing. And what happens is you end up with a tube that's relatively flat. So we have a tube. Our stitching looks like it's on the diagonal. Now we're going to press a crease along the short edge, and we will cut that open so that you have accomplished your bias piece.
Well, that just looks like magic to me.
It is magic. And there's a seam here that you really can't see, but that's what allows us to have the diagonal line or the spiral look. Now we're ready to take a look at battings, and there are a variety for you to use. There's thinner battings, there's some that are insulated battings, and there are also some that are a little bit thicker. So you need to choose the batting that's going to be appropriate for the project.
Which one is your favorite for table runner, Linda?
I like the thicker one because I may put a hot pot on it or something, and that'll protect your table just a little bit more. Now we're going to take our bias piece or our table runner and our base fabric that's going to become the backing, and we're going to lay those with the right sides together on our batting. You will stitch around this edge and leave an opening to turn. And once you've turned and trimmed the excess, you will end up with a gorgeous table runner.
Linda, that is beautiful. It looks like you spent hours piecing the strips together. And wouldn't it be beautiful with a monogram on it?
Monogram, embroidery, other
yeah.
quilting. And this was the quickest way that you could stitch. However, we could have done a lot of quilting and put binding around the edge if we wanted to go. You can take this further. The time element is how you decide what you're going to do with the project.
About how long would it take you to do the beautiful table runner like that?
The basic one, probably an hour and a half to 2 hours.
Wow. Here,
Isn't that
Christmas
quick?
gifts, here we go.
And wedding gifts, all sorts of
and one
instances.
for every holiday.
Absolutely. And it's another way that you can use up some of the leftovers in your collection.
The collection, the stash.
Yeah.
the resource. The resource.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We wouldn't, the ladies wouldn't know anything at all about a resource.
They probably
center,
don't. And we're letting out a few secrets
yeah.
we probably shouldn't. But
well, Linda, it is beautiful and easy, and thank you so much. And now Linda has brought some wonderful things to share with you for sewing inspirations. Linda, show us what you have here that I just love.
This is a wall hanging for your kitchen using some of the fruits and vegetables fabric. And this area that you see along in here is actually spiral patchwork, just like we were doing a few minutes before. It's being combined with a strip in between. There's weaving up at the top with some of your leftover fabric, so we've used a fusible to hold those together and added some little fussy cut fruits to finish the wall hanging.
And with the leftovers.
When the leftovers really get down to the leftovers, so you can make pot holders or mug rugs or any little things that can go along in the kitchen. Notice that the batting in the wall hanging is a little bit thicker than the batting over in the pot holder. So you're going to use a variety there.
Now, Linda, you know I love your bags. These are
yes.
I'm just kind of a bag lady. I like everything in a bag, so I carry a bag on my shoulder. This is a wonderful bag.
And it's been quilted with a batting inside, so you're using 2 of your favorite fabrics to create.
And machine embroidery, another bag that's been quilted.
That's actually free motion.
Oh, free motion. Well, aren't you the smart
one? So that was done by one of my stitching friends with a variegated thread.
But it could be machine embroidery.
It could be machine embroidery, absolutely, yes.
Things. And now, let's show them
the picnic bag.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, at our picnic, we take our own ants. So in the side, we have a pocket that you can put your dishes, your silverware. Also for our picnics, we do use our serger napkins.
Talk about easy. Just serge right around fabric.
Absolutely. Go ahead and use some of your leftover tidbits again, of fabric that you have. Put your picnic stuff in the bag, take it to your spot, unzip the zippers, and like magic, you have the tablecloth. And this is what the outside looks like when the zippers are unzipped. So once the zippers are zipped up, they become the shape of the bag.
Okay, now one more thing. This is just so wonderful. Okay, we have the picnic bag.
Yes.
Take your lunch and all the goodies out.
Absolutely.
Unzip it, and you have your tablecloth for your picnic. You know what this reminds me a little bit of, Linda, is when I was in Girl Scouts, the sit-a-pons.
Oh, yeah,
we always had
I did those too, yeah.
Okay, but this is sort of a picnic sit-a-pon.
Yeah, this would be the underneath side, so we would actually see this side on our picnic. Okay. But I wanted you to see the zippers and how they looked once it was finished.
And it's all washable, of course.
All washable, washable batting, washable fabrics, perfect.
How fun! This is just one of my favorites. Thank you, Linda. And now Linda has a So Quick, So Easy project for you. Linda, let's have some fun cooking and sewing.
Absolutely.
This is so much fun.
Our 2 favorite things to do, right?
Yeah, sure.
We're going to make a potato bag. And the purpose of the bag is to cook a potato fast and easy. This will go in our microwave. And the bag helps hold the moisture and gives us a lot fluffier potato. You can do corn, you can do sweet potatoes, you can do red potatoes too. But we're going to use a microwave, so let's use 1100 watt, or 1100 watt is what it was tested. Okay. You want to make sure the bag that you're making is smaller than the turntable, and it's best to have a turntable. And when we're creating the bag, we also want to use a batting. You get the potatoes over there. We want a batting that's 100% cotton. We want to use 100% fabric, and we want to use 100% thread to stitch.
100% cotton, everything. No
everything
polyester.
needs to be 100% cotton.
Okay.
Because we don't want any products going in the microwave that are going to affect the microwave itself. So, what we've done is quilt the lines, and I actually used a striped fabric and stitched from the striped side, but I'm showing you the other side so you can see my stitching. Fold it over about 1 inch on both ends and stitched to hold these ends nice and flat. And then we're folding the bag so that it overlaps ever so slightly, maybe 1.5 inches to 2 inches, and stitch the ends to hold it in place, turn it right side out, and you have a potato bag.
You know what?
You're ready to start
Maybe
cooking.
in the South we could call that tater bags.
Tater bags, yeah,
And I love
warm tater bags.
Warm tater bags. You know what? Now that means 100% cotton everything. Even your serging that you did on the edge there, 100% cotton to serge to.
Yes.
Everything. Well, and you know what? I really have heard that potatoes are wonderful cooked in these bags. So
oh yes,
I can't wait.
White, fluffy.
I can't wait to try it.
Yes.
Linda, thank you so much.
It's been great to be here, Martha.
And now we have some so easy, you know, I love those 2 words, stabilizer techniques to share with you. I'm so pleased to have as my guest today Kay Brooks. Kay is with R&K Distributing. She is head of product development and education. Kay, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
I can't wait to see what you're going to share today.
Well, actually, today's project was inspired by a blooper. So, so we all have those in our sewing rooms, certainly. And you can see this beautiful pillow that we have here has color behind the fabric. I actually called it machine embroidered shadow quilting, but that's quite a mouthful. So I love heirloom quilting also. But what I've done is taken embroideries that maybe were not stitched out correctly. Have you ever taken an embroidery design out of the hoop before the last color was stitched?
Oh.
Have you? Have, you know, little things, or you've stitched the wrong colors, or maybe the color plan didn't turn out like you wanted once you took it out of the hoop. So, but don't throw those things away. I'm going to give you a great way to use those in this technique. So I think you'll really, really be inspired with it. So you can see our gorgeous pillow here. I'm going to set this aside just for a moment. We may bring that back up in just a moment, but I want to show you the step outs here, what I've done to create this gorgeous pillow. And first of all, we have to start with a design, certainly. And here I have stitched the design on 2 layers of a cutaway mesh. Now make sure that your mesh is nylon, not polyester, because we're going to be burning it away. However, if you have stitched on cotton or whatever, that's fine. Just trim it close around the edges like I've done here. Now, if you do choose to use the burning method like I've done, I'm going to give you a few little steps here that you're going to need to take. So we've stitched the design out on 2 layers of our nylon mesh cutaway, and I'm going to set this aside for just a moment and pull this piece over. Make sure you have a heat resistant surface. Like this is just a glass frame out of an old picture frame that I had, or you could use a piece of tile, anything that's heat resistant. And this is a stencil burning tool. And you can see that I have a nice little curved tip here that I'm going to use to actually burn away the excess stabilizer from around the edge of the embroidery design. And lastly, make sure that you're using a rayon thread. You can use polyester if you want to, but if you accidentally burn too close, the rayon does a nicer job of not melting away. So what we're going to do is take our heat cutting tool. I'm going to set this aside and pull this piece back over. And then once it's heated, which of course we're not heated right now, but I just wanted to demonstrate, you're just going to quickly, swiftly burn around the excess stabilizer. And you can see that it has pulled apart here. Okay, so very, very nice. Then what you're going to do is take the piece that's been burned away completely, and you're going to insert that between fusible quilt batting and a piece of batiste, lawn, linen, any kind of nice light sheer fabric. You're just going to put that in between. Then when you press it, the fusible on the fleece is actually going to trap the embroidery design between the batiste and the fleece. So now we have this gorgeous piece that's ready to be quilted. And you can see the shadow here, which is absolutely fantastic. Now, if you are stitching on a piece of cotton or a denim or linen or whatever, that's fine. You can still do the same technique, just trim it really nice and close. Now, if you have a lot of small vine type things that come out from the embroidery design, trim those away. You don't need those. You can actually stitch those. Then you're going to take it to the machine, and I'm going to bring the pillow back over here so I can show what I've done. And you can see that I've just used plain straight stitch quilting stitches to accent the embroidery underneath and frame it. And you can see that I used colors that accent the embroidery design that's actually underneath the linen. It's just a great way to use up designs that you ordinarily would have thrown in the trash.
Well, I think that's complete. Now, you did not stitch all the way around it. You just did your little feathering.
Just did the feathering, and then you can see we used a metallic thread to go around the edge to do stipple quilting.
Stippling. That is truly beautiful, Kay. Oh, my goodness.
A great way to turn a blooper into something gorgeous and unique.
Just to make it for that purpose.
Yes,
it's really
yes.
beautiful.
Or this can be really what we wanted to do the whole time.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kay. And now we have some heirloom quilting to share with you. I'm so pleased to have as my guest today Nina McVeigh. Nina is an educator trainer for Bernina of America. Nina, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Martha.
And I think we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics today, ribbons. And you know how I love the silk satin ribbons. It looks like you've done a lot of decorative work on this ribbon, on this beautiful quilt square.
Well, it's just another way to add that to your quilt. And by putting that ribbon in here, making a fancy band of ribbon and using all those wonderful decorative stitches that we all have in our machines, and sometimes we aren't sure what to do with them or where to use them. So this allows us to play a little bit, and then whatever it is we've done while we were playing, we can actually use in our quilt.
Love to play with those decorative stitches.
Yes, yes. So to start with, you are going to choose the fabric that you're going to put the ribbon on. I like to choose something that's got some sturdiness to it. This, of course, is a cotton and linen blend, so it's got some weight to it, but I'm also going to spray starch that fabric, so that's got some body. I like to use a stabilizer behind those stitches. This is one of my favorite stabilizers. It's a water-soluble tearaway.
That's one of our favorites.
Yeah, so I can tear away the excess, but then I can wash away what's ever left in those stitches. So that's how I'm going to begin. The first thing I like to do is that outer stitch. Whatever stitch you choose to be your outer stitch almost gives that ribbon the look of a decorative edge. And then from there, I'm going to put whatever I'd like down the center. This is just the way I have chosen to do it. It doesn't mean that you have to follow this pattern exactly. You'll notice that I did put a centering line on my ribbon. So I'm going to do that decorative stitch down the center. And then come back and do more decorative stitching. Really, this scalloped edge on this particular stitch really shows off the ribbon itself, because I've put a color, even though it's a tone on that ribbon, and then the shiny part of the ribbon shows through there, so it really does create a nice look on the ribbon. So let's go over to the machine, and I have my piece all prepared here, and I'm going to choose one of those decorative stitches to put on the edge of my ribbon. I am using an open toe foot, so I have a lot of visibility here. I want my stitch to be on the outside edge of my ribbon, so I need to position this so that the edge of my ribbon is just inside the left toe of the foot. So when I stitch that decorative stitch, it's going to catch the edge of my ribbon. And I do like to use the dual feed for this. It will help keep everything smooth.
Nina, do you enjoy the open toe foot?
Very much.
For a lot of things. A lot of people really do love that foot.
I do. When you're doing this, it just provides so much visibility, so you can see where you're going, where your machine is stitching. I would caution you, however, if you are doing a decorative stitch that's a heavy satin stitch, then you might want to use a different foot.
Okay.
Okay. Now I've used a little bit different stitch here than I did on the sample. It just as pretty.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
They're
just
all
as
beautiful.
pretty.
And have fun doing it, too.
And the other thing is, what we call these are stitch recipes, and there are a lot of different places that you can go to and websites that you can go to see what other people have done as far as a combination of stitches. So you can just put a stitch recipe on this ribbon and be all set with another fancy band. And again, now I'm just going to do this down the center. I should also tell you what I did before I ever stitched anything down. I got all my pieces prepared, and I did use a very, very light misting of spray adhesive to hold this ribbon in place.
I like to do that with ribbons too. It's a little heavier fabric, a ribbon is.
Yes, and what I would also tell you is don't be discouraged if as you are doing this it seems like that ribbon is puckering up, because what happens, it's like magic. What happens is after you put even more stitches on it and press it, it really comes out looking wonderful.
And I love the idea. You said you used a little bit of tone on tone. You changed shades a little bit on the ribbon. And that gives it just that extra little touch of interest, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm, it does.
Nina, thank you so very much for sharing this wonderful quilt and these wonderful techniques and those beautiful stitches with us.
You're welcome.
And now I have a piece from my vintage collection to share with you. This dress is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely a showstopper. I cannot wait to show you. The details are overwhelming. They are so beautiful. First of all, we have the mitered diamond in the middle with this beautiful, beautiful little Swiss embroidered piece inserted. Then look at the tucks that are in this little piece that is inserted. Another piece of beautiful mitered lace and gathered edging. And then strips down the side of the bodice, and then look at the little ruffle on the side. There's a detail here I would like for you to see. This is edging attached to edging. Usually you have lace attached to edging, but it makes it so pretty. You have those extra little scallops. And this mother has also done the same treatment. Well, we have the beautiful tucks, but look on the little cuff. Edging attached to edging attached to edging, which is so unusual to find, and then a little bit of baby edging on the bottom. The skirt is beautiful. It has released tucks, and this is a very special detail. Teeny little strips of tucks, I mean ½ an inch wide, all the way down the front of the dress. And then we get down to the bottom. Once more we see the beautiful diamond, the mitered diamond, with that pretty, pretty little Swiss embroidery inserted. And once again, beautiful release tucks. And then, now this time it's very interesting. Instead of having edging and edging, we have insertion and edging. So who knows, she was just being very creative. The back is absolutely magnificent too. Some of the same details. Look how this matches in the middle. For our Sewing from the Heart today, I have an absolutely wonderful letter from Frances Metcalf from the Springfield Lincoln Land American Sewing Guild chapter. Dear Martha, the Springfield Lincoln Land, Illinois chapter of the American Sewing Guild sews brightly colored pillowcases for Camp Cocoa, children battling cancer, Camp Carolot, underprivileged children, and the Ronald McDonald House. There are a wide variety of bright prints with solid bands of trim on the hem. The campers get to pick, and at the end of the camp, they get to take one home. The project was begun about 5 years ago for just one camp. They liked them so well, the word spread, and we have additional requests each year. We have an all-day cutting and kitting, followed the next month by an all-day stitching. Members contribute fabric from their stashes, and our supply of fabric seems to multiply like the loaves and the fishes to fill the requests. Our American Sewing Guild has so much fun with this project. Frances Metcalf. Thank you, American Sewing Guilds all over the country, for all you do. I'd like to invite you to come back to see me next week.